Welcome to the Culturally Distinct Podcast. This is your boy DJ KO.
K Jack is in the building.
And we'd like to welcome you guys to the show. Before we get into the show, I'd like to thank the sponsors for today, letting us host our show here today. We are at City Cellar, a nice little wine bar in the Museum District here in Houston, Texas. The address is 1801 Benz Street, Suite 120. They have some good happy hour. I believe the happy hour was from 3 to 7. They have some good appetizers and some good wine. Make sure you guys make your way over here, drink some good wine, flirt a little bit, do whatever. Do whatever you do on a Wednesday or Thursday. Anyway, Anyway, today we have a special guest today. I don't want to go into depth with the conversation with her introduction because I want her to do that. I might mess it up a little bit. But
Of course you will.
everybody, I'd like you guys to welcome to the show Miss Dawn Malone.
Thank you. Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Dawn, how you doing today?
I'm doing very well. It's such a pleasure to be here with y'all today. I'm very excited.
What are you drinking?
Tequila on the rocks, 2 limes.
Oh my goodness, happy
You're
hour.
drinking
As
wine.
always.
Happy hour's in full effect.
Yes.
So Dawn, for the people that don't know you, could you give a brief description on who you are?
Yeah, I will be brief. I'm going to start with the most important thing
Real
is that
brief.
I am Kaya's cousin.
Oh, okay.
So happy to be here with
Oh
you.
my
with
goodness.
y'all.
I know what type of show that's gonna be then.
No, you don't.
So I am, I'm not a Houston native, but I've lived here in Houston for the past 15 years.
Okay.
And I work in the community and government space. And just in 2020, I started a company. It's called ELDR. And we are a boutique consulting agency. We work with organizations and individuals to direct their funds to community good and just help them navigate that space. And before that, I worked in state government.
Okay.
I worked Houston Rockets and Toyota Center. Worked in music and entertainment for some time. We talked about my time with Cash Money.
Okay. We're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that.
Outside of that, I am avid thrifter. I like to spend my time.
Oh my God.
I'm an avid thrifter.
What is that?
Please tell him. He is too. He just didn't know it had a name.
do not think that you should pay full price
Okay.
for name brand things,
Oh, okay.
I find joy in the resale, right? So I spend a lot of time at estate sales. So when people pass on or decide to move, there's a moment where their items are sold. I am there on Saturdays and Sundays. Kind of rummaging.
Cashing in. You know how you used to go find your 3-piece suits or your suits for her? She's all about the high waist jeans, all of that.
It's different for me. I find if it's trendy and I could cut it to where it looks nice. Now I'm not an avid thrifter. I don't go there every Saturday or every other Saturday.
When's the last time you went to the mall?
No. I have not been to the mall.
See, that's
No.
She's like
Yeah,
dead ass. But she gets the best. She gets the best jeans, hands down.
you small though. You could fit those jeans.
Yeah, I mean, even being a bit smaller, sometimes like the high waist, vintage Guess jeans, the Janet Jackson style.
Right.
I have some that I just had to give away because I was like, it's not going to work.
Pleasure principle
Yeah.
jeans. Yeah.
That's the exact jeans that I had to give up because it wasn't happening anymore for me. But So yeah, I like to and I like to meet new people. Right, I'm always kind of popping up at different events, often
Okay.
solo, which is fine with me. I like to eat out in Houston and do my thing.
Okay. So where you say you've been here 15 years. So exactly where exactly are you from?
So okay, now the backstory to this is that I was I was born in Little Rock, Arkansas, and growing up, our family we moved 6 times. So I was born in Little Rock, Arkansas. Then we moved to Kansas City, Missouri. Then I lived in Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Wow.
Then Omaha, Nebraska. So I was there for 8 years. So that's the longest amount of time. Then we did move to Houston for a year. I went to high school here at Incarnate Word for a year. Moved back to Omaha. So that's where I finished high school. And then I went to college at North Carolina A&T
in Greensboro. Okay.
for 2 years. And then I swiftly was brought back to Houston, Texas.
You were brought back? That's another podcast.
That's another podcast. Because I enjoyed the moments, coming from Omaha to A&T.
HBCU.
I didn't know.
That's a change. A drastic change.
And I got there and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. And my cousins all went to HBCUs, right? So I heard the story. But I'm a few years younger, and so I wasn't in the know. And then I went and I was like, oh, okay.
It was that age-old story, not necessarily sheltered, but it was just like, wow, this is different.
Yeah.
Let's get with it.
Was it military?
No. My dad worked with the railroad growing up. So
it's like military. You just move.
Yeah.
Okay. But Cheyenne, Wyoming, and Idaho, wow. That means you was
Omaha.
like 0.8%. And doing that and going directly to A&T, drastic change.
Wide open.
Yeah. And then, I'll just quickly say, I didn't know about HBCU Homecoming. And so my friend and I, Angie, she's actually from Austin, we were both in our dorm room the first day of like homecoming week. And people are like, y'all not going to hang out? We're like, it's just homecoming.
Nah, it's not just homecoming.
No, it's not just home.
Right.
From that moment on, I didn't see that room.
We got to bring her back to Southern.
Right.
We got to take her to Southern.
So the highlight, even though I graduated from Southern, but I used to work in High Point.
Okay.
Right outside of Greensboro. So in High Point, I got an opportunity to go to A&T's homecoming. And they have a live homecoming too.
A&T or Tuskegee greatest homecoming? Which
No,
one
A&T is in North Carolina.
I know, but which one has deemed themselves the greatest homecoming ever?
Oh, A&T.
It's A&T.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful campus.
We plan to do a
Beautiful
tour,
campus.
so I'll be visiting A&T hopefully next year if COVID acts right.
Yeah, but see, in North Carolina, you have 13 black schools in North Carolina, right?
Really?
Yeah, 13
So they have the
HBCUs.
most.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was even an all girls. The name escapes me. It was right down the road.
Oh, that's right.
From
CIAA.
Yeah.
That's why. That's how you get CIAA.
That's another one.
Girl, I've never been
Oh yeah,
there.
CIAA. Oh yeah. They go hard. That's like our Bayou Classic.
Right.
Is that CIAA?
But it's basketball.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So talk about what's the name of the nonprofit? Elderly. What is it?
It's not a nonprofit. We're definitely for profit.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Make
that clear, right? Make that clear.
Run me my coins.
But we are for profit, but we support. So elder, ELDR. Kind of playing the term like the word elder.
Like elder, like old.
Well, yeah.
Elder.
But also knowledgeable and wise and that kind of. So ELDR, and we work with companies or individuals who want to support nonprofits and support things that really impact community good in a long-term and measurable way.
Okay.
I think that we all, noticed that definitely in 2019, 2020, with the uptick in more awareness of social justice issues, all of a sudden here the dollars pour in. And even prior to really starting the company, like much of my time was spent just like my friends emailing me saying, I work with this company and we are looking for 10 organizations to give $5,000 checks to in 3 days. And I'll be like, oh, okay. And I'm just like, well, there has to be a better way for people to, one, understand how can I make the most impact and what do those programs look like, not only just like in the short term, but in the long term. And I say this to, my friends, Opally, who work in like professional sports. I'm kind of on them in ways like, it's time now that NBA, NFL, you can't come into communities and give out. It's nice to give out backpacks. It's nice to
give out turkeys.
Let them run through Walmart and get them toys.
Yeah, that's amazing. But if you have the money, to do that, how can you redirect that? And how can you say we're not going to do the toy drive this year? We're going to put in an urban garden or teach people how to make money from solar energy.
We need co-ops. I'm all about the co-op.
Yeah.
I'm about that life.
Yeah.
So when you got the call from the friend that was saying these checks to be given out, were you starting Elder or were you still like with the Rockets? Were you doing what's the word I'm looking for? The corporate side. Were you still in that sector?
Well, I was still in the government sector, so I was government after the Rockets. Right. So I was still really in that sector. Okay. And so, in anything that I do, I'm always very mindful to not crisscross, things too much. And so that's really why I kind of made a career transition, because not only the influx of that, right, but also like me reaching out to people saying, can I support you in this way? Would this be helpful to you, and companies saying, we appreciate you approaching it not in a way that's, you didn't do this, you did this wrong, you could have said this.
Right.
Like, why don't you have anyone in the room who knows X, Y, and Z? It's like, I will email people and say, I noticed that.
So you need to be running these seminars and talks that people are giving on. Of course, right now the big thing is diversion and inclusion.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, capitalize on that. Like, Elder needs to be booking these with people. I have a friend who calls it white guilt. She has a friend who, she was like, I was like, what does she do for a living? She sells white guilt. I'm like, what do you mean? She was like, she sells white guilt. Like,
White
she
guilt.
goes in and she brings it to the forefront. And of course, they're going to
Makes
feel
people
guilty.
guilty,
So
huh?
that's why she calls it that. But you get them in that vulnerable spot. Yes, you were wrong. This is not you, but the privilege. She sells, like, recognize your privilege, feel guilty about your privilege because everyone doesn't have it. And then it's like the floodgates open. They want to give back and do more. And I'm not saying that's what you need to do, but like you say, it's not enough just to do the toy drive or just to come in and pass out some turkeys for Thanksgiving. What goes beyond that? You know? So
What does that look like? When I say, if I was a business and said I want to invest with Elder, what is that?
Well, and it actually wouldn't be about, it'd be more about you. So let's say you're a business and you have a landscaping company, and you've done well, and you're like, hey, I've set aside a budget to give back to my community. I'm not sure how I should go about doing that.
Okay.
So then I might say, this is a good idea for someone who has a landscaping company, and this is
O'Shea's Lawn Service.
Right.
Are you hitting at me?
I'm just gonna say, you might,
John,
you might
your cousin's
say,
talking to you.
yeah. If you have a landscaping company, you might say, okay, well, and when you're in business, you figure out for yourself what's tax write-off, how you do that, or how you manage your philanthropic money.
How you maneuver the business?
Yeah, how you do that part. So you might say, I want to get with an organization that supports young men, for example. Let's say the 100?
Yeah, 100
Black men.
100
Yeah.
black men.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I want to give. I'm reach out to the 100 black men. I'm looking for 10 young men who are interested, who are ages 17, who are interested in learning how to run a landscaping company, and I'm going to inform them about all the opportunities. Not just like, okay, you can landscape for people's yards, but you have a landscaping business. You can, City of Houston contracts, right? You can, if you move out of Houston, as long as you are. You want to get your MWBE, like actually showing someone how to duplicate, right, your business, but then it's like, in doing this, this group manages this block in this particular community that we know is like riddled with litter, and landscaping is horrible because where people live and how it looks, right, it makes a difference.
Absolutely.
If you have like a recycling company, right, you might say, we want to give back in a way that we will sponsor the recycling bins.
Okay.
15 recycling bins between these 20 blocks, and we'll, manage that for the community.
Right.
Okay.
So how does the business side of it, like, I don't want to get in depth into your pocket, but
No,
far as from what you're telling me, it seems
How
like
do you
you're
make it for
doing
profit?
the
What's the business side?
education. Seems like you're doing education, right? At the same time, you're like the middle man to a degree. Like you're setting another party up with another party that would never known each other.
I call it making a connection.
Okay.
So when I make connections, I literally send emails that say making a connection. Hi, so and so.
Making a connection, right?
Yeah, I'll say hi. Hi, John. Excited to connect you with so and so. And this is not like even getting too deep into my pockets, because I tell people this formula because I believe that you have to be you to do what you do. So I could tell you all day exactly it is like what I do in the email, and it's just like, but you would have to be me to make a specific, connection.
Right.
Not to be catty, but I'm just saying.
I get it.
So I call it making a connection. So example, there is a nonprofit, and they support a lunch program. And during COVID, there wasn't really an opportunity for them to like galvanize their volunteers and to host events, right? But the city of Houston was still distributing free lunches to kids through their summer program, right? So that's an opportunity for a connection.
Correct.
You have a nonprofit that needs to continue with programming. the city needs support in ensuring that these kids know where free lunches are, and
Right.
you have the volunteers. So how do you
Connect
connect them to do that work? And you know, I will say this: every connection is not like someone is sending me a check,
Right.
but that's
Right.
kind of the point, right? And
Relationship.
that's why people ask me, because they know that she's gonna connect me, and if there's some programming development or something like that, then that's a different conversation, obviously.
Right. So you said you went from city government to the Rockets, which is
From the Rockets to
city
to the
government
Mhm.
to this. So you went from private to public to private. So how did that transition pan out? Because most people that leave the private sector and go to the public sector is something totally different, vice versa. So how did that pan out with you? Like, how did you transition?
Well, I think I was really in shock because you just don't know until you know.
When did you realize? When did you realize it was time?
To make from private to public. Well, I was with the Rockets for 7 years, and by far my favorite place I've ever worked. And when you work in sports and entertainment, unless people leave, and there's
There's no growth.
It's a small circle,
Yeah,
you got to
small
know
circle.
people in order to elevate.
No growth.
Yeah, and I didn't want to. You have to move teams, and I didn't want to work for another organization. So it's time to transition, and then just kind of fell into working in government. Didn't think that that's something that I would ever seek and do. But I was joking earlier that my nickname is Dawn on Patrol because I'm always
Right. Like I knew you were doing something. And of course, it's done. She's moving. It's forward. And when you actually said government, I'm like, how, Sway? Like, did she break the law? Like, how does that work?
How? But then once I got into it and I realized, okay, well, it's an opportunity to support people in improving quality of life, then I got really really interested.
Power the other.
Right.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah, and I was like, let me get in line here. No, that part. So it's really interesting. But to answer your question, the thing that most surprised me is that the bureaucracy and how long everything takes.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
Yeah, government outside looking in private. It's
and people don't know.
I want you to explain
They don't
that.
know about the bureaucracy. Yes.
Yeah.
Speak
Explain
to
that
a little bit.
Okay, so it's just
So for instance, say if we had a hurricane.
Okay.
Yes.
What is this?
Because hurricane season is coming
What's
up.
the hurricane just passed?
That was an ice storm.
No, not
Oh,
that.
Harvey.
Harvey.
Yes, let's talk about Harvey.
So Harvey. So say somebody. Well, you work in the public sector. So say if a building, a road. Say if here in Houston, give me a main road.
Buffalo, the Buffalo Bayou overspill by Memorial. Let's do
Yeah,
the Memorial
Buffalo
area.
Speedway.
Outlet water.
Okay.
Say that got damaged. The overpass got damaged over there, and they didn't start doing the repairs on that road for maybe 4 years.
They just started yesterday.
They just started. And the storm happened 4 years ago. Could you go into detail, not in detail, but explain how that process works?
Yeah, I'll do it to the best of my ability because that's like an engineering public work
Right.
side.
Right.
But I know I can kind of give you it.
But what stops it from? Question is, why did it take 4 years to get started? What are the powers in play that could possibly hinder that project starting in 4 years?
Okay, can I use something else that I know about?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, because it'll be easier.
Something that you're familiar with.
Yeah, familiar with. So the 288 bridge, for example, right? The bridge, new toll road on 288,
Yes.
and bridge has been taking a long time.
It's been taken. You
It's taken-
talking about
it's
the toll
still
bridge that goes all
right
the way to
here.
downtown?
Yes, yeah. So Blodgett,
Yeah.
that bridge,
All
right?
right.
So that bridge, it was supposed to take 1 year, and trust me, I was in every meeting about what's going to be, what's the bridge going to look like, the pedestrian walkway, will there be trees, all these different things, and then you have one design delay, you have funding delays, right, rain delays, all those things, but then just in general. I mean, there are about 100 meetings attached to every little thing, so that is why, everything in government, it's so layered because, you may have one meeting about, right now there are trees there. Where are the trees going to be relocated to?
Right.
So then you have to find an organization to relocate the trees to, and you can't move the trees till you know where they're going to go,
Correct.
and then are
Right.
the trees going to die, and then Are they going to dig the? Who's going to? You
Dig
have to
'em
hire a
up,
contractor
right.
to do it. You got to
You
put
have
a
to
bid out.
on the contractors who's
Can't
gonna
just pick
dig it out.
someone.
Right.
You
They got
know.
procurement in place and all that stuff.
And that takes weeks, and then you have to give the contractor a you have to give the make sure you have their scope right. And all, it's just like layered upon layers, right? And
Right.
in the private sector, it's like, I'll give you an example. So in public sector, I was responsible for throwing events. I did that public and private.
Okay.
And when I threw my first event in the public sector, I was like, oh, we need this, I need this, I'm going to order this. And people are like, what are you doing? You can't just go ordering things from people
You had a
that you
culture shock.
need for events. And I was like, what is
Right.
the deal?
I have
Like,
the money. Why not?
did you get 3 bids? And I was like,
Right.
for the buttons,
What
I
does
did
that
not.
mean?
You know?
Yes.
So, but in the private, it's like, oh, they want to do this? How many
I got
basketballs do you
I
want?
got the money. Boom.
Yeah, there it is.
Get it.
So it's layered, and it's all very, I think we said earlier, it's all very traditional,
Okay.
so a lot of meetings, a lot of committees to decide things. You have to get the right person's input. It's very political. Oh, well, what did so-and-so say in the meeting? Well,
Congress.
What did they really
Got
mean
to
by
agree
that?
on it. They
Yeah.
got to sign off on it. The president
Yeah.
has to sign off on it.
Yeah, that was a culture shock, or a shock nonetheless. Like he said, after Harvey happened, after Katrina. So walking the grounds in rural areas of Louisiana, just learning these things, how things get there. So in Louisiana, you have parish presidents, you have your mayor, all these people. When you say bureaucracy, that's one of the things. You have those layers of, these people have to approve it and sign off and say yes. So even if the government and federally, they release these funds, you have these smaller people, as it trickles down, they have to say yes and sign off on these things before these funds are dispersed without these areas. And a lot of people don't realize that. So even like you say, they have these trees. And of course they're not going to say that out loud on the news. Well, we can't start construction on this bridge until we move these trees, because people are going to be like, fuck them trees, I got to
Right.
go to work. But they're not going to say that out loud. So you'll get delays or whatever cute ways they find to say it. But a lot of people do not realize that's happening. But of course, should that be the holdup, because people still need to go to work, they still need to pay their bills, but you have these things that are mitigating circumstances that get in the way. So
People don't know it's against the law. If you cut down the wrong tree,
right,
you could go to jail.
Absolutely.
For a long time. Like an old oak tree. If it was an oak tree.
I've seen them moving those trees in Louisiana, taking like 2 flatbed trailers
Yes.
side by side, having to move at the same speed because they dug up this oak tree that's got these roots, because they are relocating. Like, people pay to relocate these trees because they have that whole historical mark on it.
It's called Environmental Historical Preservation,
Right.
EHP. Yeah.
Right. You
Oh,
need
you
an
know
oak
that.
tree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Environmental yeah.
You wouldn't have
Yeah.
a plantation without an oak tree.
Right.
You need an oak tree.
That's true.
You can't have a plantation. When have you seen a plantation
This
without
is-
an oak tree?
I have not.
Exactly. You
Yeah,
need
I've
your
not
oak
seen
tree.
So, how many funds did you abuse while you was in a private?
He said,
She's like, what?
I tried to warn you, Don. That's what he said.
I heard you say earlier that you did work in the entertainment business, and we spoke about it briefly.
Yeah.
Cash money, right? So
For the 99 and the 2000.
Hey.
But it was after the 99 and the 2000.
So how did that go? Like, because you have different jobs. You had the government job. You had entertainment job for us with
sports and
the sports and entertainment. Now you have the actual music industry. So how did it operate? What is the intel on that?
Just kind of quickly, I mean, growing up, I thought I knew I've always wanted to work for the NBA and like in entertainment,
Okay.
and I really thought I was going to be like someone to go off and live in New York. Kaya probably knows this part of my life where I wanted to like go live in New York, work for Bad Boy, that thing, and so yeah, I thought that was me. And so being in Houston, I didn't really know the people had like labels had offices in Houston, so I really met them on a whim. Like, I worked at Urban Outfitters.
Okay.
And I like did a gig and worked one event, and they were like, "Do you
like
want to come
me.
work in our office?" And I was like, "Okay." So I was an intern, right? Technically, I was an intern, but I just did a lot, and so I really enjoyed that time in music. I know that we're very much into the streams and
Right.
all those things, but I liked the street team days, right, where you had regional street teams and you had to go to the radio station. I would go to the clubs at night, like, and cut records. Like, we're going to cut a record, and I was like, okay, so that was cool to me to be able to.
That's the old school days.
Yeah.
With music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to be able to hang out with those guys and to be like a straight up like I wasn't like a guy, but they knew I was a woman.
You was a
Whatever
homie.
business.
Yeah, but I was like
you
super.
you were respected.
You was
for
the
being
homie.
Yeah,
there.
mad respected, and they and it was actually it was in that job where one I learned to always carry a notepad because they were just like obsessed with me carrying a notepad. But one thing I can always appreciate about them is in that space they were like, hey, if they told someone, they're like, if we ask Dawn to do something, or if Dawn tells you to do something,
It's gonna get
you
done.
do it, you know. And they said you need to know, and you need to tell people to not question you, because if we've asked you to do something. And when they said that to like this group of other men, I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, okay, this is cool. And so it was a really good experience, and I went to a few shows.
Good story. Give me a story. Quick story.
Quick. Oh, I have a good one.
Good
Okay,
story, yeah.
okay. I have a good one. Okay, quick story. So, also in that space, it was Mel Smith who was like, you got to remember that when you walk in a room, you have to walk in like you're always supposed to be there. He's
Okay.
like, even though when you're with us, you know, if you have to run up to the station, whatever, don't walk in timid. Just walk in like you're always supposed to be
Like
there.
I'm supposed to be.
And I was like, okay, cool. So I had to like
do
run
that.
some. Yeah, I can do that. I had to like run some T-shirts out to the Woodlands. This was when Wayne had a concert at the Woodlands. I ran some T-shirts out there, and then I got back, you know, buses, the whole thing or whatever. And so someone was like, his security guard remembered me from before, and he's like, okay, they're on the bus. And I was like, okay. So I just opened the tour bus door, and I walk on the bus, right? Like, and I was like, hi. And my friend Ryan and I, we sat down.
So on the Cash Money tour bus.
You and
Yeah.
Ryan.
Okay.
Yeah. So and Mel was in, and they were there and all that stuff. I walk on the bus. I sit down. Baby was there. There was someone who's a celebrity. She's married now. Don't matter. She was there too.
Okay.
And so, so Mel was just like, okay, well, I did tell her that to walk up to.
This is my fault. Like you,
Yeah.
but it's like coming in somebody's house, man.
Right.
You just gonna walk in these people's
Yeah.
house.
It's like, who is this person?
And so he was like, "Oh, thanks, we got it. You know, when we're gonna walk to the stage." And I said, "Okay, cool." So we're walking to the stage, and we're walking like in military style, like their security guard, like people are, all right, keep up, let's go. And I was like, are y'all expecting something to happen right now?
But they can't protect you if you're lagging.
Yeah, like we were in this
Gotta
like,
keep
bubble.
time.
And so they were like, we always move like this. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I just watched the show, you know what I mean? But after, I thought they were going to be like, ma'am. But, you know, he was like, no, it's cool. You know, you kind of.
You own the moment.
Yeah, you
You
have
did
to
what he
just
told you
do
to
that.
do.
But I was like, Don, you should have read the room. Just, you can't just bust up
Just
on
walking
it.
there like, you see what's going on
On
here.
a tour bus.
Come on now. We
They're
smoking
like-
weed over here. We doing all this. Hey, God.
Somebody.
And they were very kind, introduced me. Oh, this is Dawn, and she does this. And they introduced like me not as this is Dawn, our intern. They're like, this is Dawn,
Right.
and this
That's
is what she
dope.
does for the office. So I always appreciate that.
So let me ask
And
you this.
for
Do
that.
you ever, I know you have relationships. Do you ever utilize your relationships for elder?
Yeah. No.
It's okay.
No,
look,
I mean, I would say.
Because when I think of Elder, my mind keeps going to Trey the Truth. I'm like, have you hit up Trey?
No. So this is what this.
And
is
I know you don't hit people up in this sector. You let them find you. But I'm just saying, like, can we do an event?
Yeah.
Can I send
Right,
them
through
a
the
box?
resources,
Can
right.
I
Yeah.
do a charcuterie
Call
board
somebody
for you? Be like,
for-
hey,
say-
Yeah.
if you need some snacks to us, hashtag, I got you. Use your connections. We can send them some cinnamon bars. On Sandra, I'm plugging you.
Oh, yeah, those
so,
cinnamon
you know what I'm
bars.
saying? We have ways of, you
Yeah.
See, Kaya trying to get in there too. See what I'm saying? She trying
No,
to slide up in
I
there
just
too.
said that would not be a charge, but if that's gonna get my cousin through the door,
Right,
I mean,
right.
between
Yeah.
me and her mama, the best way to a person's heart is through their stomach.
It's-
So
Right.
I mean, between me and your mama, we
In their
got
pocket.
this thing
This
locked.
is true. Yeah.
We can get anybody's money with this cooking we got going on.
No, this
You know,
y'all do bake and
you know,
cook really well.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
So you see what I'm saying?
So you don't utilize the resources?
So when I do, it's interesting because I found that in like the private corporate sector, it's easier to have. I mean, people are more receptive to the conversation of, this is what I see, this is what I can do for you, and
Right.
do you need me to support you in other ways? And I mean, even before I had Elder, I was always reaching out to people. I mean, there are a lot of people who have a lot of emails from me, right?
Okay.
Who are like, I saw this. So I was making connections before I was getting paid to make connections, and I like work with people who, you know, receive what I'm trying to do, and like, you know, and or reach out to me. That's not to say like I want to work with. I would love to still work with people in entertainment, and especially
In
like in
sports and all
sports.
that,
I
yeah.
really am truly do want to get to a point where like, you know, when someone is in, whether it be NBA, NFL player, where they like seek companies like mine
Right.
to support them in setting up like not necessarily setting up their nonprofits, but like really dissecting their programming. You know.
So just speaking on HR 40, can you give us a little bit of detail into your research on that? Because I know a lot of people are, they're going to talk about this in the reparations and we're going to get
what is that?
Not so much. So can we talk about that a little bit?
Yes.
So can you...
Yeah,
HR 40. What is
HR
that?
40.
I want to talk about that.
Oh, I love talking about it too.
I know. I love it. Let's go.
Yeah, so HR 40 is the bill to study and develop reparations.
To do what to it?
To study and develop. They added the word develop.
Okay.
To study and develop reparations for descendants of enslaved people.
Okay.
So to study and develop
reparations.
I don't want y'all to think you're going to get any money. They're going to study it, and they're going to develop something, but that does not mean you're going to get paid. But anyway, we'll get into that.
Yes.
But go ahead.
And just to your point, the actual, like, if you look up the definition of reparations, one, it's, monetary. It is a formal apology that's actually listed as what, definition. So it can be a systemic righting of injustices. So it could be a few things, right?
But don't they use the term, I hate to cut you off, but don't they use the term a form of reparation? They don't say reparations.
Oh, did I say?
No, not you.
Definition?
I'm just saying in general. When they talk about giving monetary,
they say a form of reparation.
They say a form of reparation, so they don't exactly
So it doesn't have to be
say
monetary. It can be an apology.
Yeah. So they say a form of reparations, but where I think and where I started speaking about it, so much is because when this is being communicated to like the Black community, people are getting one message, but if you watch every article or every other or read about it the way that some people do, it's like they're sending they're not getting the right message, right? So I will say this: I read the bill. It's only like 14 pages. It is, and this is not a shade statement. I'm just giving you what you can read
facts.
it.
Okay.
So
HR 40. Okay.
It is
It's 14 pages
it's
to
14
talk about all
pages.
this money. 14 pages.
It is essentially a history lesson, right, on slavery. Because when I read things, I look for what are the deliverables,
Okay.
And so,
All right.
oh, I turned myself off.
No, you good. You good. We good.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you good.
I just can't hear me.
Okay, you good. You good.
Oh, so I look at what are the deliverables, and the deliverables that I found in this bill are that one, the request is for a formal apology. So basically, if the president or whoever got up tomorrow and was like, "We're sorry," that would check off that one on the list.
Okay.
And then the other deliverable is for $12 million for a commission.
$12 million. That's it.
Hold on,
That's
$12
right.
million for a commission, which is a group of people who are experts in something, right?
Right.
To study and develop reparations. So now, if you're hearing that, you might say, "Oh, well, yeah, it sounds like something needs to be done," right? In my apartment, I have 5 studies right now. I should have brought those studies with me. I have 5 studies right now, right? Some of my colleagues who work in real estate in Houston, they gathered 30 studies just for Houston. So if Houston, they did all the research, right? So I have like 5 just off GP, and they have 30. So I'm not the only one who has this comment.
So do you believe in it? Do you want reparations, or you don't want reparations?
This is what I'm saying is this. I think the bill was put forth in 1992 or don't quote.
So
I'm sorry.
This is the same one. Nothing's been revamped.
Same
This
one.
is nothing. It's
right.
the same one brought back up.
The same one brought back up. And my question is this: if there's anyone who does want to figure out how to talk about like looking backwards and continue to talk about like history, they're more than welcome to do that. I'm going to use this term. I want to run with the winners.
Hello.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And I want
So
to.
what does that mean?
And so that means that I want to understand. The question is not do I think people should want reparations? Is what would you like? Who has asked the question? And as we talk about this bill specifically, this is. I'm off track. As we talk about this bill specifically, my issue is that not that if someone said we want to do a year study to gather all of the hundreds of studies, and have researchers put them into one plan that could be duplicated by Black communities all across the United States, I'd be for that, right? I'd be like, okay, you're gonna say, because in most communities the same things are happening, right? Where Black communities are close to downtown, when people want to move back close to downtown, gets gentrified, all that stuff, right? I think the city of Houston, for example, does a great job with their Complete Communities program and saying this is what creates a complete community. It has parks, it's safe, educate, all those things.
Right.
So if the bill was about that, I would be down. But let me just, only because I've worked in...
answer the question.
Only because I work in government.
Are you for it, yes or no?
Let me say this. Only because I work...
So you sugarcoating that thing.
No, I'm not.
You putting
like you working.
you working.
No.
Because you're not going into... I want you to look. It's a yes or no.
Am I for it as is?
No.
As is.
No.
As is, no.
Okay, because of that reason why you give it.
Right.
Because of the reason that it is not a solution-oriented bill.
It's not about solutions.
It is, exactly, and that's a problem.
No.
Is there a... Because most people, what you're saying, the things you're saying are going to go over a lot of people's heads.
Okay.
In 12 million is to go into the study, blah, blah, blah,
Mm-hmm.
blah. Is there an amount that you guys think that could be put out there? Because like they say, the Jews got their, everyone got their
That's what the
reparations,
study
but
is to
us.
determine.
What could that number look like?
Oh, they
What
said, okay,
could it
so
look
they
like?
said the number could be in the trillions.
A trillion, right.
Trillions.
Is that going to happen?
And, well, based on all the other, like, so Vox has a really good article. Just if you go to Vox.com, it's the 6 times people have been given reparations, and it tells every
What they
time.
got. Mm-hmm.
And it's always like, you know, I mean, it's not the trillions that this would be, but here's the thing, that they always also are able to measure what time span and who the people are. You know, like,
Right.
I have a nephew.
Right.
He is biracial. Is he included?
Right. Because
Yes.
you know they say if the father is black, that makes
Whatever
everyone
his-
black. So
whatever his
but
percentage
that
is.
broadens our pool, though. So
No,
then
whatever
how
his
do you-
percentage
but
is,
how
that's
do
what he
you-
get.
That's
So, but-
true. But
okay.
how do you
Yeah.
how do you gauge that? Because that's why I say what is the
Ancestry.com.
amount? You say trillions, but what is that amount? Like we say with your nephew, my cousin, shout out. But you know, they say all the time, if a person's father is black, that makes them black.
Yes. But though I'm saying, like Ancestry.com, they break it down.
So they're gonna go by percentage.
Yes.
Okay. So even though you look like you look, and I look like I look.
No, but I'm 100%
Don-
black.
But okay, you saying that?
I'm
You
not.
are- no.
I'm Nigerian.
No.
I'm 98% Nigerian, 2%
No.
American. So I'm 98%. I'm
That
gonna get all
doesn't-
mine.
No, that doesn't matter. But the thing of it is, because Don knows. You've seen my father, my grandfather, it goes back. So then it's like, okay, I look like this. But if you were to see my grandfather, you'll be like, whoa. So then whatever percentage of a certain set of the genes that took over made me a little darker, made my hair a little tougher. But how do you gauge that? So then what is the percentage they're going off of, and how do you go off of that percentage?
That blood. So
Because when you're talking about slavery and rape and master coming out to the
Yeah.
hand, you can't, because
why you don't want the people to get their money?
no, I'm not saying. I'm saying, how do you said it was a percentage? I didn't know there was a percentage.
Yeah.
So how do you
'Cause everybody-
base it?
everybody
I feel
not
like it should be
100%.
all black people.
I'm saying, but you gotta do.
Nobody's 100%.
Right,
You
right.
just said you 90-some percent.
Yeah.
That's not 100. So
I
you
know.
would get nothing.
I would get 90% of
No,
that.
no, there's no.
So
there's
it's,
no,
out of a dollar, I would
Wait,
get 90
they're
cents
not
out of that
quoting
dollar.
off of you. They are not basing it on your percentage, sir.
But-
it sounds good.
But I know. Look, I know we're getting off the topic, but I still want to talk about this because you know
Okay.
this is a sensitive subject, and we talking about reparations, the HR 40 bill, right? So you say you're not for it
I'm not for it
because
as
you say you
is.
want solutions.
As
right?
is.
No, hold on. So I'm gonna say I'm not for it as is because I know what it means when someone says they're gonna get a commission together. That means
Oh yeah,
they're-
yeah, forever. It's like the government. They say they're gonna repair this and gonna take them 10
Because
years.
this
Yeah.
same bill we're bringing up since '92. That's how many years later?
And-
So now you're waiting on a commission?
Yeah, and I'm just asking the question and saying that like there are so many scholars and other commissions across the United States that have already done this work. Like,
Right.
and
So
so,
we can't tap
you know, we
into
can we
that?
not?
So let me ask you this: did you accept your stimulus?
Yeah,
It's the same thing.
it's not.
Why
Nah.
not?
Nah.
You know what? Oh, here's the
Okay.
other thing because this is what it's interesting. I took it too.
Right. And we'll use it.
That's right.
Yeah. So the difference.
They didn't put a return to sender on it. I didn't
No.
know where to send it back.
I was like, what? Okay, so the
That
difference
1400
is
real deal.
yeah, the difference is that you know the reason that people are using for the reparations is because you know of course it's an attempt to really atone, I guess, in some ways for what is it?
No, I think it's for not forgiveness. It's more for this is what was done to these people, these disenfranchised communities.
But they don't
Right.
look at us like that.
But I'm
That's why
saying
it's taking so
this
long.
Right, because in the Constitution, that's another story.
Right.
We're still not exactly 5/5 human. We're still 3/5. But for these disenfranchised communities and these people that suffered this over these years because of a certain law that was put against them, that's why I think it should be granted to those people. Just for, now, don't get me wrong, you might mess it up. You might be in the Gucci store and Louis Vuitton store.
Happen.
And I get that. That's not up to us.
It's happening.
They're gonna put it back in the community, but at least allow them to receive it.
So, okay, understood. So let me ask you this question.
Because it comes with power. Once you have money and you do the right thing with it.
Well, black people have money now.
Yeah.
There is a phrase
and we have
that
a sense
me
of power.
and my brother use all the time. They should have never gave you niggas
But
money.
look, we have a sense of
Right,
power, though.
right,
Don't we have a
right.
sense of power?
A
So,
sense.
but
It's a small circle.
yeah.
Yes.
So I guess this is what I'm asking. If the choice was between, and then two, let's just make we keep using the money word. This bill is not about that. It's about a study.
Okay.
Right.
So,
Okay.
so
This
that's,
current bill is
that's
about a
why
study.
there's a mix up, and people keep saying
Donation.
what people are, owed. But this is not even about that.
Okay.
This is about a study. But if the option was reparations in whatever amount, or to say everyone who has been imprisoned because of marijuana charges,
Right.
you are released, and you are also
Yes.
given,
Yes. I agree.
So if I would take the release from prison. If you had to pick one or the other, I care not
Absolutely.
about.
I want my freedom.
Yeah, but I'm saying, I'm talking about for people forward. So it's like, what my fear. This is what I fear is going to happen.
Okay.
Right. I fear that people are really not going to, one, read the bill. You should. It's only 14 pages.
HR 40.
You should read the bill. But then, two, they're going to be so ramped up thinking that, okay, if it does pass, then, like, something's going to happen after that. And then what's going to happen is someone's going to get on a stage and say, we apologize, and check off the list that they did what they said they were going to do in the bill.
Install it out
I got you. For
more.
another century.
I think it's like 5
Right.
And the thing is, people are on this like, we can't wait. Yeah, we
You've been
cannot wait.
So the thing is, I think this. You know what? Honestly, and you guys might disagree with me. I think COVID. We always say this: COVID was a blessing and a curse, and I think COVID is like a form of reparation, because now a lot of us, black people, people of color, we're getting a lot of funding for like small businesses,
PPP. You're right.
for like the stimulus checks, housing. You know what I'm saying? Grants. We're getting a lot of funding.
Can't get evicted.
You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Now, if you take advantage of that, when we come out of this thing, you're on top. That's if you take advantage of it.
Could be.
Right, you could be. So this is like a blessing and a curse, because the government's saying, look, we're granting mostly minority businesses, women businesses, LGBTQ businesses. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, they're directing this money, these funds, these $1 billion towards you guys. Now, whatever you do with the money, now, we ain't talking about the 3.7.
Right.
But,
Go shopping, but
Right.
hey.
But I think this is helping us out if we learn how to get them funds and utilize those funds properly. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
that's another thing. But don't say that about your people. I want you to
Say what?
That you don't want your people to eat them reparations.
Okay. I did
That's
not
not what
say
she
that.
Now I'm messing with you now.
I did not say that. I said I would like the bill to be reworked and for there to be some more truth about what it actually is.
They don't like it.
So
needless to
in the
say.
when we come out of COVID, if we come out of COVID,
He say if we come out, I'm coming
we
out.
might be in this thing for 3 or 4 years.
Coming out.
I'm out now.
Me too.
Where is
Don't
Elder?
tell my aunt.
Do not tell my mother.
Oh, you're not. Oh, yeah,
No,
look.
I'm not out.
We're not really here. We're at Don's house right now.
Yeah, we're not
Sandra.
out. We're
I'm
not
half
out.
vaccinated, so I'm almost
Aunt
there.
Sandra, we're not really out. This is like the
This-
what do you call it?
it's
The
semantics.
face-
This not even real.
Right,
This is like the
the
Zoom.
backdrop on
Yeah,
the
the
Zoom.
Zoom,
We're
right,
not
right,
really
right.
out, Aunt Sandra.
So look, what do you find? What do you want Elder to be in the next, maybe say 8 months? I'm gonna say 3 or 4 or 5 years. Say 8 months.
Good question.
Yeah, so
like that.
I would like Elder in general, like as a company, we have some basic like platforms, like we call them, just like things that we believe in and things that we support. So everything that we do, it's around either mitigating food insecurity, economic equity, or just like equity and quality of life.
I like those terms,
You know?
food insecurity.
Because it's, and so
You study these terms. I can tell you. This sounds good right here.
that's
Good.
not
She's not
Economic.
saying
What is it?
food.
economic equity.
Equity.
So you make
And quality of
But she
equity
didn't
and
say
quality
food
of life.
desert. She didn't say there's no fresh foods and vegetables.
They are
It's-
poor. They got them hungry.
It's
She
not
said-
poverty. Say it again. What is it?
What did I say? Mitigating food insecurity.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
So
Okay.
good, huh?
You know what that is? I think she's running for. No, I ain't gonna say that. No. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do that on camera.
No.
Next time. No.
No. You'll be back. We'll
Yeah,
have
I'll
you
be
back.
back. And so
Rashad, you got you some competition. Where art thou?
and I told him, I said, I know Rashad. That's so funny.
Yeah.
That's a good segue. I'm gonna be him right now. That's a good segue.
Right.
Adam.
Shout out, Rashad. We need you back.
With some daiquiris.
I would really like to have clients in all kind of three of the areas that we focus on, right? And right now things are a bit more one-off and transactional. So the goal is to get about 2 clients, 2-3, and kind of stick with their programming, right? Be able to do work with them throughout the year. For next year, really, I am focusing on how I can support people in plugging in different ways to South by Southwest
Okay, that's
Music
dope.
Festival.
Done it. Awesome.
So
Yeah.
they have a diversity inclusion also 2 years ago, panels about diversity inclusion, also panels about like
It's
gentrification.
hot right now.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is about
And I was
that.
like, who on this panel? I don't know any of these people. And I was like, where'd y'all find? Right. So sometimes, and when you work in government, it's not razzmatazz, right? I'm not.
It's not the who's who.
Yeah, it's not like
Right.
It's not like anyone thinks my committee meetings are interesting to post about, right, on social media. And so sometimes the people who are the most informed and who have the most knowledge and know the history are not the people who are asked to be like on these panels and
Correct.
those
Absolutely
things.
not.
And so
Correct.
I want to try to bridge that gap because there are definitely some people who need to be talking about that at South by Southwest who they
Yeah.
may not know to reach out to. And so I hope to have a client that will allow me to really manage their programming
That sounds good.
for that music festival. But just continuing to do work that supports people's quality of life and get paid for it.
Absolutely. Just look back to you with the South
by
by
Southwest.
Southwest deal. Hey, look, let the cultural distinct know. We could use your platform. You can use our platform
Okay.
in any way you want.
We can do the podcast
You know?
at South by
And-
Southwest.
yeah, you told-
Hey.
No.
Yeah, Kai come down there. Look, I'm not going down there, but Kai
You
go down
come
there.
in,
Look,
you
look.
already be there. I'll meet you there.
I'm scared of all them people, man.
Whatever.
So,
this
it's
is
too-
Mr. Socialite
We still in COVID.
himself.
We still in
And
COVID.
I like going to the interactive.
Okay.
I don't go to the music anymore because I was like, it's too
So
it's
it's like Essence. They got the whole convention center
Yeah,
set up.
yeah.
Okay, South by Southwest.
So I like going to the interactive. It's not like film business tech part. That's and then and then I just kind of leave. I don't, and I never really buy a badge to
You've
go. I
evolved.
just go.
You just go. Let's go.
She's evolved.
You don't get no credentials, huh?
No.
Okay, cool.
HBCU taught her that.
Yeah, right. Just walk in that thing. Look, we ain't paying to get up in here. We just walk
Working my
in.
shoulder. She
What,
walk
what my man said when you got on the bus?
He said, just walk in like you're
Like
supposed to
you
be.
right.
Like you're supposed to be there. Nobody
Y'all
gonna know.
need
Oh, she belongs here. You good?
Yeah, that's like.
So anyway, Dawn, look, I appreciate you for coming
Thank
on
you.
the show.
Thank y'all for having me.
I want you to tell the people where can they find you, where can they find Elder, whatever you got going on.
Sure. So my Instagram is Dawn J Malone. My Twitter, I do tweet sometimes, is _Diary of a Dawn, but all that's on my Instagram as well.
Diary of a Dawn.
Yes.
Okay.
And
That's
Elder
dope.
is elder.com and
Spell Elder again.
ELDR.
Okay.
No E. ELDR.
Yeah, just ELDR.
Right.
And so I hope to be invited back.
You will.
be back.
You
will be
will.
back.
And I told Kai,
have a
I said,
plug. You have a
this is
plug.
my
You'll be
first time
back.
on a podcast, so I truly appreciate
Yeah,
it.
well, you
Thank
did
you.
a
Like
good job.
when I called, I was like, Dawn. I was like, what are you doing Wednesday? She was like,
I thought you would ask me to babysit.
she was like, I don't know how to answer this. She was like, nothing. I was like, you want to come on the podcast? She was like, oh my God, yes. Like it's a big deal.
Yeah, it is.
But the thing is,
We're
that
big
you have
deal.
good information, and you're doing something good in the community.
Thank you.
You're helping people out. So that's a beautiful thing. And that's
And
what
you
we
come
highlight.
with a lot of knowledge and you don't look like what the people expect you to look like,
Mm-hmm.
but you look like what they need you to look like to listen. And I know that seems like it doesn't matter to a lot of people, but it does. It's just like when you're eating food.
Right.
It has to be aesthetically pleasing, and you,
Thank you.
I'm happy to know you.
Well, I
Thank
like
you.
Dawn because she's a tequila drinker, so you know,
Oh,
good job.
yeah.
We can hang out anytime, girl.
He said, are you a square? I was like, what is the deal?
We don't drink. He knows I don't drink tequila.
So anyway, guys,
Okay.
look, guys, I appreciate you guys for tuning in the show. Make sure you make your way over here to 1802 Ben Street. That's City Cellar. Happy hour is between the hours of 3 to 7. It's Suite 120. This is Don Malone, guys. This is DJ KO.
K Jack is in the building.
I appreciate you guys. Subscribe to the channel. You guys have a blessed day. Peace.
Bye-bye.